Let's bring in Stephanie Bastiaan, Women's Forum Australia Research Fellow. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's talk about the Flying Bats Football Club, Sydney soccer team competing in a women's comp. But 5 of their players are transgender women, i.e. biological men who identify as women. And this team is back in the news because they're taking to the pitch again this week and they have dominated every team they've played. Not surprising when half the team are biological men. They won the pre-season tournament. They've won games 12-0, 10-0. And the administrators are allowing this to happen, Stephanie. This is causing more and more problems in the league. Some parents have spoken out, some players have spoken out, but a lot of them are doing it anonymously.
It's good to see some pushback, particularly by female players who have been impacted. This gets a little bit stranger because the Flying Bats are actually a lesbian team from the 80s.
Jeez.
So you have, it sounds like the set of a Monty Python play. You have these heterosexual men identifying as lesbians playing on this queer football team, and they're annihilating all their opponents. I think that it's good that people are speaking out, but I would encourage other female teams to actually start boycotting these games because there's no fairness while these men are allowed to play and dominate the sport.
Well, one player has written a letter calling on administrators to see sense, saying they are showing a complete disregard of women. Men and women are different, she said. Women do not have the same physical characteristics, obviously. And another player called into radio station 2GB about the perils of playing against biological men.
Sarah has phoned in. She's played against them before.
Yes, I did, and I used to play against the Flying Bat. It was a couple of years ago, and there was only 1 or 2, and even then it made a significant difference. We were unable to beat them. They were first to the ball every time. When you're in a one-on-one tackle, there is that difference. There's a different muscle, there's a different energy, and it was just disheartening. My team was quite an advanced team. Even us with all of our skills, we couldn't muscle up to it.
Is another club out there any hope of beating the Bats?
No. It's straight up no.
Well, I can understand why the women aren't speaking on the record because we have seen athletes attacked when they have made a stand. But let's not forget our national women's team, the Matildas, lost 7-0 to the Newcastle under-15 boys. The Newcastle in New South Wales, not the UK. So that's the difference we're talking about. So to have 5 players on one team with that advantage.
Insane, absolutely insane.
It absolutely is. Another example of the inequalities between trans women and biological women, real women. A mediocre male athlete who would have finished last if he competed against the men. He wouldn't have even made the finals. But have a look at this competitor, Sadie Schreiner, not only win, but break the 400-metre record at the Liberty League Championship. You can understand why a mediocre male athlete would want to compete in the women's, because you're breaking records, you're not coming last.
Absolutely, but this is actually, this is destroying women's sport as a category. There is no women's sport while you have men playing. You have mixed-sex sport. Women are the only group of people that have anything to lose because once men are playing, it is no longer female sport.
And all this raises the question, where are the feminists on this? We've seen a renewed push against the very serious issue of domestic violence in recent weeks. But Stephanie, it seems extraordinary that we've got a lot of feminists, a lot of activists connecting things like risque jokes and banter with violence against women. But they say nothing about the importance of things like female-only spaces, including at shelters for survivors of domestic violence.
I think this goes to a broader problem, though. There is so much public pressure. You can lose your job if you speak out. You are doxed online. You are bullied into oblivion if you take a stance on these issues. More and more women are speaking up, particularly where it affects them. But I mean, we speak to mums all the time, particularly in private schools, where boys are now using girls' facilities. And they're terrified of affecting their children's lives at school, so they want to talk anonymously, but they're tearing their hair out and they don't know what to do. So we need some strong vocal opposition. We need, particularly from the Liberals, well, they need to stand up because there is a large group of women and mums and girls who are all struggling with this issue and no one is providing them the protection to speak up.
And there's also a very large migrant community who cares about this issue. And I think the Liberal Party is absolutely ignoring that demographic. Socially conservative migrants who may have traditionally voted Labor, but these are things they care about. This impacts their children, and the Liberals, certainly at state level, are giving these people nothing.